Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Gundam Shoppers Network. Today, we have a very special guest, Mr. Nick Savery from Mecha Warehouse. How you doing, Nick?
Good. How are you?
Great. And Mecha Warehouse is located in the state of New Hampshire in northeastern United States. How's the seafood up there?
How's the seafood? Not bad. We're fairly close to the ocean here. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Tell us a little bit about Mecha Warehouse. When did it start? How long have you been in business? Tell us about the team that works there. How big is the team? Stuff like that.
Sure. So Mecha Warehouse started in 2018, technically, but it wasn't really Mecha Warehouse then. So I started the business trying to get out of my corporate 9 to 5, so to speak. Right. Although it wasn't really corporate 9 to 5, I had a consulting business. I was doing engineering consulting for various clients, some defense stuff, medical, robotics, things like that. And I basically had, after the best year of my life financially and professionally with that, I then had the worst year of my life with that. Just a lot of contracts falling through. And through the frustration and stress dealing with that, I kind of started deciding I want to do something on the side, do something different that was maybe related to a passion, something I'd enjoy, and maybe a simpler kind of business to run than trying to do engineering consulting where you're making promises that you can deliver technology that, there's always that risk that you can't because you're trying to push envelopes and stuff. And that led me to start doing basically what is known commonly as Amazon arbitrage or Zen arbitrage. I'd buy textbooks on Amazon and I'd sell them back on Amazon by, taking advantage of difference in prices for merchant fulfilled and prime fulfilled and stuff like that. But I realized really quickly that buying and selling textbooks is very tedious if you're not a textbook fanatic. And I don't know if anybody is. So it just wasn't really worth it to me. And the thought that came to my mind is if I'm going to go and try to sell something and do all this research and trying to figure out what prices make sense and which things to get, it might as well be something that I don't mind looking at. And so looking at Gundam stuff, it's sure, this makes sense. This is way more fun. And, learn stuff along the way and get stuff out of it, good deals on kits, things like that. But that started buying through kind of some weird Japanese sellers, I guess, while I was trying to get set up with Bluefin. That finally happened in 2019. And so the business officially became Mecha Warehouse in April 2019, started in my house, my hallway. We had Mecha Hallway, really was what we should have been called at first. Eventually became Mecha Attic. Then coronavirus hit, and that was kind of our big break when we got way larger. So I guess technically August, September 2020, we moved to the warehouse we're in now, and then started hiring people, and we're going from there. So we now currently have three employees, all part-time. My wife is basically working for me full-time, though, essentially, or pretty close to it. And that's kind of the team, I guess. I got two people in the warehouse. I got a media person that does all my video stuff, and my wife does all the stuff that I can't do.
Well, that's amazing. I did not realize that the actual Mecha Warehouse was still very young of a business.
Yeah, we're definitely. I think we're very young. I constantly flip back and forth between thinking that we're nothing and we're not very far along, but then I see some other shops around. Okay, we're actually, I think, getting up there in size compared to some of, not quite playing with the big boys, so to speak, the ones that everybody knows that have been around forever, but we're definitely on our way and growing pretty fast. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess the fact that you have an actual warehouse and you're not running out of your house is a big deal, because I do think a lot of the specialty retailers who do Gundam and Gunpla,
right,
it is like a home office or basement type of business. So yeah, I think that's definitely I'd say minor leagues to big league jump right there.
Right.
Yeah. So I understand that I think you mentioned on one of your live streams recently that your martial arts background is what led you to your Gunpla hobby. So can you tell us a little bit about your origin story there?
Sure. So I've been doing karate, Kyokushin specifically. It's a full contact style of karate since I was 7. As a Power Rangers thing for me. I watched Power Rangers as a kid, and I said, when I turn 7, I'm going to start karate. And I got lucky in that the school my parents found for me was the style that I do now. So that's, 20 something years ago, a long time ago. Been doing that for a long time. And back in 2015, my instructor came to me and said, hey, we've got this opportunity. We can go compete in the world championship, which I jumped at the chance, trained really hard, went to Japan, didn't do very well, unfortunately. But I mean, when you show up and you're fighting that many competitors at that level, more people lose than win, right? So that happened. But the really cool thing being in Japan, so we spent probably about a week and a half in Japan. The first maybe 4 days of the trip, we were in Tokyo, just kind of getting adjusted to the time zone and stuff before you're going to go compete in a high-level athletic event. It's not really great to be jet lagged, so trying to just get used to the time change and all that stuff. And there was a toy store that I found just like looking around at Google Maps right like a block away from the hotel we were staying at. So we had some time to kill, and I grabbed my wife and say, hey, there's this toy store. There's got to be some cool stuff there. It must be worth looking at. And being in Tokyo, it was like a 4 or 5 story store. And the top level was all like big kid toys, right? Model kits and slot cars and all the stuff that, it's like traditionally more like hobby stuff than toys, so to speak. But they had like a whole wall of all Gundam stuff and displays with some kits and little dioramas and stuff. And that kind of got the wheels turning again, because I was into Gundam when I was a teenager, high school, middle school, that kind of time frame. Went off to college and forgot about it. That started getting the wheels turning. I didn't even realize that all these different series existed at the time. I was just like a Gundam Wing kid. I knew Gundam Wing was there. I knew there was like 1 or 2 others, but I didn't realize there were like 30 major franchises within the greater universe of it all. And then the tournament itself was in Shizuoka. And if you're not totally familiar, Shizuoka is actually like the model manufacturing capital of Japan. That's the city and province where all the big model manufacturers in Japan are headquartered. Bandai's, I think, probably got factories there, but Tamiya and Hasegawa and Oishima, I think, all have factories there. And so next to the hotel there, like a block or 2 away, was actually a little hobby museum. And so I had seen the model kits in Tokyo, looking for things to do to kill time. We're trying to do some really low key stuff because we were a couple of days away from competition. It's like, oh, there's a little museum. Let's go check that out. And they had rooms of just Gundam models. And I walked through there and I was just like, oh my God, there's even more of this stuff. This is amazing. Had, an awesome conversation with the dude in the gift shop there, and they had Gundam stuff there. And it was just great. And so like, I knew leaving that place, I think we went back at least one more time while we were there. We're just like another day. We're like, let's go back. Let's go check it out some more because it's free. And I knew upon leaving there that when I got back to the US, I needed to look this stuff up and start getting into the hobby and give it a shot. And that kind of changed my life, I guess.
Wow, that's awesome. So when was that, or like how long ago was that?
That was 2016.
16. Okay, so wow, so you've been in the hobby relatively not that long either, right?
Yeah, right. I'm a relative newcomer. I mean, compared, I think a lot of people have joined the hobby since then. Yeah. So there's a lot of really new people, but I haven't really been in it that long. I'm not one of these people that's been building kits since the 90s or anything.
I mean, admittedly, I'm still relatively new myself. I only started in June. So yeah, it's been a fast passion for me. So like, just I guess I needed a new hobby with this whole pandemic going on, and it sucked me in. I started watching Gundam Build Fighters with my kids. Right. Well, because I saw it was free on YouTube, and I was like, oh, I love Gundam. Like, I like you, I discovered Gundam Wing when I was like, sure. I think it was like a freshman or sophomore in college or whatever. So like, it was on Tsunami. So I watched it and I was like, okay, this is cool. But then I forgot about it. Right. And then, all of a sudden, this last, I think back in May is when we started watching the Gundam stuff on the Gundam Info channel. And that sucked me right in. And my kids, they're only like 7 and 5, but they loved it. Sure. Because the Build Fighter series is actually great for kids. And it's, I think it's just a really family friendly like introduction. So
So I got my son kind of introduced, was build fighters and then build divers. And my wife had not really been into any of that stuff either. She could rattle off all sorts of facts because she'd been running POs for me and stuff and keeping track of all the numbers. She knows more about Gundam than she should based on how many episodes of Gundam she's watched, but she very quickly got sucked into that too.
Yeah. So it's been a great hobby to be in. And, I'm actually amazed that, since even though you're relatively new to the hobby, like a few years, you're running a really successful business around it, which is awesome. So yeah, congrats on that.
Sure. Thanks.
Yeah. I guess, at what point did you know that you had to move the business out of your house, like, and actually get a warehouse?
So that was probably like early summer last year. So for us, it was very much a side thing until March of 2020. And then it very quickly started shifting. It was literally, I can remember down to the day, it was Friday the 13th, March 2020. It was the day that the state of New Hampshire locked down. We got announcements. And I remember very quickly after that, like taking my classes to virtual and stuff like that, because everybody was kind of feeling out what was going on. And I ran an ad on a whim. Like it wasn't like some grand strategy thing, but it's just like, everybody's freaking out about coronavirus. No one can get toilet paper. Everybody's freaking out. So I recorded this ad and ran the ad, and it blew everything up. So from February to April, it was about a 10x difference in sales. And that kind of growth stayed after that. So it wasn't like a small blip on the radar. It stayed pretty consistent after that. So I think it was like maybe like May or June when I probably near panic attack broke down. I was like, tell my wife, I just need help. I don't know what I need help with. I just need help. And she jumped in. And it very quickly from there, we were just, my attic became just full of kits. One half of my attic was just shelves with, a few of each kit on them. And then on the other side, we had, boxes of backup stock, just cases with various things. And we had spreadsheets and really complicated ways to try to keep track of it all. We had one half of our garage or more, I think at one point, was just full of more backup stock, and going up and down 3 flights of stairs to grab more kits when you need them and carrying stuff out is just crazy. So it's just like, we got to do something about this. And so it was probably somewhere maybe around June that I was starting to think about it and starting to test the waters probably. And then we got lucky and found a good space, and we're moved by like beginning of September.
Cool. Yeah. And I guess with the expansion into the warehouse, you're starting to do like things like events there. I know you recently just had
just last week.
Just like a build event, hosting folks there. How was that? Let us know about that.
That was good. So it wasn't really a build event per se. We kind of build it as an open house and builder showcase. So we had local builders could bring their kits, and we had a table set up so you could show off your work and kind of meet other local builders. And because I think one of the greatest things about this hobby is the amount of community that kind of builds up around it. And so giving people the chance to kind of meet other people that are like-minded and, compare notes, like, oh, that's cool. How'd you do that? That kind of stuff. And then we had like haros for the kids. So the kids could go and grab a haro that's built for free. We did a speed build contest, building Maganax, and see who could build it the fastest. That was a lot of fun. It was a good event. It was relatively small, but not like, if it was much larger, it would have been, I think, kind of awkward, the amount of space we had. So it worked out pretty well.
Good. That's great to hear.
Yeah, it'll be a vlog up Tuesday, actually. I don't know when this is going to air, but we'll have a vlog up kind of showing what it was like.
I'm going to make sure to add a link to the description below for everyone to find that. So also to lead you all to Nick's channel for the Mecha Warehouse, which, by the way, that actually segues nicely into my next question about your social media presence, which is great. I love that you do fairly consistently weekly streams every Saturday night. Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, if anyone's interested. And I'm going to include the link below. Cool. Which is a great event. I love just sitting there and watching. You have like really nice music in the background. You're building currently, which I believe is the Heavy Arms Custom.
Yes.
Master Grade Heavy Arms Custom. Yep. Tell me how that got started, and what inspired you to do that.
So I think I started doing it on Twitch way back I forget when it was, but it wasn't, I was having trouble making it successful. I think Twitch is a very interesting platform in that it's super engaging, but most of us don't necessarily have Twitch accounts unless you're really into watching gamers. And so drawing people in that are already on Twitch is it's a much higher bar to meet than YouTube. Everybody's got a YouTube account these days. And I don't know, for some reason during the pandemic, it just kind of hit me that I should switch over and start doing it on YouTube. And it just seemed like a good way to kind of interact with people and kind of get that kind of FaceTime, so to speak. We've always kind of wanted to be that. We're an online store, but I really want to be that local store that a lot of people don't have or couldn't have during the pandemic, especially. So yeah, I'm not even, someone probably randomly suggested I think a lot of our best ideas have come from people just like, hey, you should try this. And it's like, oh yeah, maybe we should, let's do it.
Yeah, great. Yeah. Well, it's very enjoyable. So I definitely recommend anyone who's watching now to tune in on Saturdays because it's a good time. And Nick usually does giveaways, which is really fun.
Giving away a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, you not just like your basic standard release kits. There's some really cool stuff. Like every once in a while, there's a nice P Bandai exclusive or a Gundam base exclusive. So definitely tune in if you guys are into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and that goes back to our community too. I feel like we've got a really strong community around the business. Most of those like limited edition kits and P Bandai releases and all that kind of stuff usually come from our viewers that want to give back to the rest of the community, and they'll be like, hey, I got this kit, can I send it to you to give away? I was like, yeah, sure, I guess you can. It's pretty cool.
Yeah So I guess in the spirit of talking about building, you build, you live stream. How many kits do you think you've built in your whole lifetime?
So I think I'm probably in the 60 something range, give or take, and that's mostly, if you count, like it depends. To me, the word kit you can kind of bend that, right? So I've built the 36 piece Maganac set as part of a charity stream a couple of years ago. So if I count each of those 36 as separate kits, then that's where I get that 60 something number from. If I count that all as one, then it's more like 30 or something.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Well, you put in the time and effort to build the Maganac, so I think that counts, right? So
yeah, I mean, I think most people would count that. It's not really any different than if I had them in separate cardboard. It wouldn't have been any different, right?
What's been your favorite kit so far?
I hate these kind of questions because there's so many good ones.
Top three, maybe. How about
top that? Three? I mean, the MG heavy arms, whether it's the regular one or the custom, they both seem quite solid. I'm a big fan of like any of the wing master grades, other than like the older wings. The older wing variants seem to be not as good as some of the other ones, just because they were like the first ones and they were evolving how they were building and designing the kits then. High grade Leo is a big favorite too. I guess my Gundam wing is kind of showing there. And what else would I say? I guess the other one I'd probably say that I thought was really fun was the SDCS ground Gundam. Those SD cross silhouette frame where you can kind of extend the frame. They're just kind of fun, and I just really enjoyed the time I spent on that kit. I don't know that the kit itself was necessarily extra special, but I felt like I got a good result with the stuff I did to it, and I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah,
sometimes with builds, it's not always about the end product. It's more about the process of like going through and the experience. So yeah, I totally get that. Cool. And as far as running the business, tell me what your favorite part is. Is there one or two things that particular that you really enjoy about it that's your favorite, or I guess conversely at the same time, is there anything that you don't really enjoy about it, or like the least favorite part of running the business?
Sure. So I think the thing I like about it the most is that no matter how bad of a day I'm having or how bad something seems, I'm still running a business doing exactly what I want. And I just enjoy the process of trying to run a business. I'd like trying to switch to this from doing the consulting. I felt like when I was consulting, I was spending my time consulting and I wanted to be running the business, and they're like two different things. And here I'm able to to actually run the business. And again, no matter how rough of a day I'm having, something doesn't go right, it's, I'm still doing something I love and something around something I love. So it's a lot more palatable. The one thing I don't like is just probably the amount of how time consuming it is and how stressful it can be to try to get everything done with the limited time that I have. I'm just constantly running into, oh, look, I made a mistake because I'm trying to do everything fast and I don't have time to be as careful as I could if I, maybe it was just an employee somewhere, or, maybe those won't be problems when we're bigger and I've got people to take care of all the details for me. But in the meantime, I get to deal with those mistakes.
Oh, speaking of which, are you still looking to hire? I think you have an open position you're trying to fill.
We are. We're like halfway through that process of trying to hire our first full-time employee, which will be basically a customer service person. We're calling the position a customer experience specialist, because it's going to entail more than just like replying to, customer service requests, because we don't really get that many of those in the grand scheme of things, and not enough to require full-time effort, but, someone to help check on listings and make sure everything's consistent and just make sure that everything we put in front of a customer is as good as we can get it. So hopefully I'll be able to get that figured out in the next couple of weeks.
Okay. Well, I'm going to put a link to the job description below just in case you're still on the hunt, but hopefully you do get that position.
Yeah, I'm hoping somebody we've already got that I've already interviewed or I'm about to interview will be that person, but who knows?
Sure. Well, great. Are you interested in playing a game that we call
Who's That? Mobile Suit?
Sure. That's the worst that could happen.
Yeah. So here's the gist of it. We're going to show you 5 different Gundam model kits, 5 different mobile suits. You just have to name them. This is a friendly competition between Gunpla shop owners. We've done this with a few other interviewees. So you're actually going to be the third in the competition. So let's see how this goes. No prize. It's just bragging rights. So let me share my screen and then we'll get started. There is the first one.
There we go. That was the IBO. It's the Marcosius.
That is correct. 1 for 1. Excellent. All right. Here is number 2.
Ooh, this will be a hard one. I'm not sure I know that one. Mostly probably because it hasn't been printed probably in the last 2 or 3 years.
That might be the case. I'm going to have to look it up. But this is it's from Gundam Double Zeta, Dovin Wolf.
Dovin. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that one on many shops.
If it's been printed in the last couple of years, I probably know it inside out and backwards. And I can tell you what its HGUC number is and how much it costs or costed when it printed last.
All right, so you're currently 1 for 2. Let's do the next one. How about this guy?
Oh, that's try to get the right one. Jagdoga, something like that. Yeah.
That's right. That's correct. From Char's Counterattack. Very good.
Yeah.
2 for 3.
Okay. So it's definitely an age kit. I don't want to cheat. I'm sure if I looked at like 4 pictures, I could narrow it down really fast. It's probably like an age 3 something.
Is that your final answer?
But as much as age 3 something can be a final answer, I guess it's kind of incomplete. It's age something.
Age something. I'm sorry, I can't accept that. This is actually age 2 normal.
Age 2 normal. Okay.
Yeah. You were in the right realm with the right. You
can
right
tell
series.
as soon as you see the chest, it's an age design.
All right, last one.
Oh, geez. Oh, this is I want to say it's from one of the build series, but I don't remember which one it is. I couldn't tell you what that one's called. It's a Zaku something probably, but
this
doesn't count.
This is actually from the Gunpla Builders Beginning G movie, I guess. So it was like the precursor to the build series. It's the super custom Zaku F2000. Yeah. So
so 2 for 5.
That is 2 for 5. Not terrible.
How am I doing compared to everybody else? Am I way behind?
Let's see. Brandon from Gunpla Hermit Shop he was 3 for 5. Zach from Majin Hobby was 1 for 5. So you're right in the middle road. Yeah, 2 for 5. So hey,
those are some tough ones.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it interesting. So
yeah, no, definitely. Put that bar up there high. The people that will get those for shop owners will be the guys who've been around for a long time, probably. If those are kits, because they're just. I should have got the age because that one I think we've had on the shelf, but the other ones probably haven't been around recently.
All right. Well, I guess as far as talking about Mecha Warehouse goes, any big plans for the future that you want to like reveal or just clue us in on, or just stuff you want to mention or talk about?
Sure. So I guess the one thing I should mention, we're running a build contest right now. Mecha Warehouse presents Repaired, and it's basically asking people to take whatever mobile suit they want and essentially make it look like it's been repaired, like battlefield repairs kind of stuff. Like one of the suits that comes to mind is like the Kshatriya Repaired. It's got like a peg leg, and you could put like armor plating, whatever you want to do really within that theme. And that I think ends November 5th, so it's about a little bit more than a month from when we're filming this, at least. So still plenty of time for somebody who's dedicated to get in. We've got some really cool prizes lined up for that. And it's not necessarily a big reveal, or it's more like the one thing that's been on my mind more than anything is trying to figure out if we need to move to a new space or expand our space, because we're filling up. I've got a year left on the lease, and I'm trying to figure that out. And our one of our neighbors moved out today, so I might be trying to steal their space to expand. So that might be coming soon, but that's very, very informal and unofficial.
Okay, well, you guys heard it first, or maybe you didn't hear it first, but you
probably. I think unless you work for me, you probably haven't heard me say that until.
Yeah, well, stay tuned, folks. You may be seeing a super Mecha Warehouse coming down the road.
2.0.
Yeah, it's 2.0. So yeah, awesome. And I'm going to include links to the repaired contest below. So I'm definitely excited to see what comes out of that, because
me too.
That's a cool concept.
Our contest last year had a lot of really cool entries. So I imagine we're going to have some amazing entries for this one too. Can't wait to see them.
All right. Well, that's good stuff. So once again, everyone, this was Mr. Nick Savery from Mecha Warehouse. We want to thank him so much for being our guest today. The Gundam Shoppers Network really appreciates it.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. I know we're all big fans of the shop, so this was a real treat. So everyone, I'm going to include all the pertinent links below that we just mentioned. And everyone have a great day, and thanks again to Nick.
Thank you.